Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, and you will be, because this is my first ever YouTube video, I'm Hannah. I'm an Italian who moved to New Zealand 4 years ago, and I'm now hosting reading retreats and an online book club here. That means I read a lot, I am picky about books, and I have a lot of opinions on books that I want to share with you on this channel. Today I'm going to share 3 books with you that I have recently read and that I'm still thinking about to this day. And I think they need to go to the top of your TBR this month. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these and what you thought of them. The first book is this one here, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I'm not even sure how I should describe this book, to be honest. It was really beautiful, at the same time also very sad, full of hope, but also full of loneliness. It's one of those books that leaves you with more questions than answers, but it feels weirdly satisfying at the same time. You know what I mean? So what is it about? 40 women live in an underground bunker, in a cage basically, and they are imprisoned there. They are watched by guards and have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only a very vague recollection of the lives they had before the cage. Apart from one young girl, our protagonist, who doesn't remember anything about her life before the cage. And in general, she is just very different to the other prisoners. One day, a loud bang, and all of the guards disappear. They all run away. And because it was just lunchtime, the cage was open and all of the women managed to escape. For the rest of the book, our main character basically tries to figure out what happened and how they're all supposed to live on now. The book is very dystopian, but it also touches on very real topics like hope, loneliness, and finding out what makes life worth living. Which I have to say, as a woman in her late 20s, almost 30s, resonated a lot with me. At the same time, also, we moved away from our home countries to New Zealand, so the idea of life is only worth living when you can make memories with your loved ones and if you can share experiences with them, which is one of the main themes of the book, really hit home for me. I'm sure I will be thinking about this book for many years, and I might even come back to reread certain parts of it. In fact, when I finished the book, my first reaction, my first thought was, I need to start from the beginning. I need to reread it so I can actually fully understand what's going on here. I would highly recommend this book. Don't be put off by the writing style. It does take a little bit of time to get into it, but the book itself is really short. I think only 100 or 70 pages, and there's only 3 really long chapters, but it is so worth reading and reflecting on. I think this would also be a great book for a book club because there's so much to discuss and so much to reflect on. Don't rush through it. Take your time to let it sink in. The second book is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon, I think is how you pronounce it. This book will always hold a special place in my heart because it was our very first Busy with Books book club pick. Wow, that was a mouthful. And it was the perfect first book. It sparked conversation, made us feel something, and included many different themes that we could discuss in our meeting, such as womanhood, justice, different family dynamics, life in the 18th century, midwifery, the importance of writing down your story, documenting your life. So much to discuss. So a perfect book for your book club. The book is set in Maine in 1789, where some locals find a body in the frozen river, hence the title. Martha Ballard, our protagonist, she's a local midwife. She's called to determine the cause of death. It turns out that the victim is a man who has allegedly committed rape on a woman a few months ago, which Martha knows because she keeps a meticulous diary as part of her job. And that's how she gets involved in the whole trial and tries to figure out by herself who murdered this man. It's marketed as historical mystery, but I have to say the murder aspect wasn't a major part of the storyline, at least not compared to the thrillers that I usually read. So it still held the story together nicely, and it made me want to continue reading the book, particularly at times when it was a little bit slower. I loved learning about Martha and 18th century life. She was a very strong, smart woman who is based on an actual, real historical person who delivered over 1,000 babies throughout her life and never once lost a mother, which I think is mind-blowing. That is just crazy, especially for that time. All in all, a great book to read if you want to feel empowered, but also mourn the many women who haven't received the justice that they deserved, and remind yourself of the fact that the justice system hasn't come all that far from when the story takes place. Last but not least, 17 Years Later by J.P. Pomare. This is actually a New Zealand author, so I'm really excited to include this in this little video. As you can probably tell, I am very much into thrillers, very intense psychological thrillers, so this was a really great read for me, especially because there was also a historical component. 17 years ago, the Primrose family were murdered in their home in the quiet little town of Cambridge in New Zealand. The family family's chef was arrested a few hours afterwards and has been in prison ever since. Now, Sloan Abbott, a host of a hugely popular podcast, Legacy, is looking into the story, and she believes that Bill Cariana was not given a fair trial. This book was highly bingeable. There were multiple characters that I suspected, and until the very end, you're left to wonder whether Bill actually did it or not. This was my first time reading J.P. Pomare, and I will definitely come back for more. I hope that at least one, if not all three of these books will land on your TBR, and you definitely have to let me know what you thought of them once you finish them. You can either leave a comment below or send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to hear about your experience. So I hope to see you in my next one.